It was not his girlfriend. This is a bizarre experience I had while working in Japan. Because of work, I moved to a coastal city in Yamaguchi Prefecture, Japan. Although it was a city, compared to Tokyo, it was really the countryside. There, I had a mysterious experience. The story goes like this. At that time, to save money, I looked for a share house. It was a 3-story detached house, even though it was a share house, because the landlord hired someone to clean the common areas and take out the trash every day, and the rent was very cheap. I decided to rent it. This house had a total of 5 rooms. The first floor had a kitchen, a bathroom, and 1 room, but no one lived in the first floor room, so it was used as a storage room. The second floor had 2 rooms and a toilet. A cheerful Taiwanese guy lived on the second floor. The other room was occupied by a Hong Kong guy and his girlfriend, and I lived on the 3rd floor. The 3rd floor had 2 rooms. Next door to me lived a college student who studied hard every day. When he wasn't in class, he would hide in his room playing video games. He was a standard otaku. One time when I was going to work, I bumped into the Hong Kong guy from the 2nd floor while going downstairs. He greeted me energetically, saying good morning, which left a very good impression on me. I accidentally glanced into his room, and his girlfriend was standing by the window looking outside. She looked really weird. Having lived there for a while, I had directly felt that his girlfriend was an impolite weirdo. Once, while using the toilet on the 2nd floor, someone knocked frantically on the door, and it felt intentional and very unhappy. I was sure it was his girlfriend because she would always ask, "Is anyone in there?" If I answered her that someone was inside, she would keep knocking frantically. After finishing and opening the door to go out, I wanted to apologize to her, but she was nowhere to be seen. Another time, a colleague came over to hang out. Before he left, we stood outside downstairs chatting for a while. Through the thin curtains on the 2nd floor, I saw a woman with long hair standing there staring at us. I thought we might have disturbed her, which was why she was glaring at us. So right then I had to ask my colleague to head back first. One day after work, walking home from the station, I happened to run into the college student from the 3rd floor. I invited him for a drink, and he readily agreed. The 2 of us were chatting about ordinary things at an izakaya when suddenly he brought up a topic, asking, "Have you noticed that the girlfriend of the Hong Kong guy on the 2nd floor is really weird?" Yeah. What is even weirder is that the Hong Kong guy on the 2nd floor says he doesn't have a girlfriend at all. This is a bit strange, isn't it? Could it be that he is afraid the landlord will find out and charge him more, and he is doing it to save money? Maybe, but the weirdest part is that I have never seen that woman come out. Maybe she just does not like interacting with people. After we finished drinking, chatting, and went home that day, I was a little bothered by what he had said. So, one morning when I ran into the Hong Kong guy from the 2nd floor, I casually asked, "I am really sorry about before. My stomach hurt so much that I occupied the toilet for a long time. Your girlfriend wasn't mad, right? Please say sorry to her for me." Stomachs are unavoidable. It is fine. But, I am single and live alone. After saying this politely, he ran off to catch his ride. I thought to myself, I am still single right now. What is going on? So it wasn't a girlfriend? After that time, I never saw his girlfriend again. I guessed they might have broken up. Not long after, the Hong Kong guy moved out. I heard from the college student next door that he felt the house had poor sound prowling and was often disturbed in the middle of the night by the sounds of passers-by outside, neighbors, and footsteps on the stairs, so he found a better independent apartment and moved out. Just like that, only the 3 of us were left in the house. During this time, the 3 of us often went out together and became really good friends. But one day, the Taiwanese guy on the 2nd floor suddenly moved out without a word or saying goodbye. Furthermore, the college student next door, whom I usually had a good relationship with, started keeping his distance from me at some unknown point. Sometimes when I was about to go out and happened to run into him also getting ready to leave, I would greet him, but upon seeing me, he would quickly shut his door, completely ignoring me. I didn't know if I had some daily habits or if there was something I did that bothered him and made him stop talking to me. But because of my personality, I actually wanted to know what was going on. If I was at fault, I would apologize and improve so we could get along well. So, one day after work, I called the college student next door and asked if he was free. He asked if I was at home or outside. I told him I had just finished work and was outside. He said to me, "Let's go out and pull an all minus nighter today." That day, we met in front of the station of a larger neighboring city. The two of us went to a bar near the station for drinks. He said to me, "Oh, we really haven't hung out enough lately. How have you been? Are you getting along well with your girlfriend?" "Who told you I had a girlfriend?" "Is that so? Did I misunderstand then? Isn't your girlfriend the Hong Kong guy's ex-mine's girlfriend? Every time you were not at home, on several occasions when I was in the house, I would hear a woman's voice talking in your room. I always thought it was your girlfriend talking on the phone with her friends in your room. Also, a few times when I went out and bumped into you, I would see your girlfriend in your room watching you leave for the night. That woman was the Hong Kong guy's ex-girlfriend. At the time, I thought you were really awful for stealing someone else's girlfriend, so I deliberately distanced myself from you. But later I thought about it and realized this was your personal romantic affair and shouldn't affect our friendship, which is why I asked you to hang out." I completely didn't understand what he was talking about. I didn't have a girlfriend at all, and I had always lived alone. I said, "Hey, stop joking around. I really live alone." At this moment, we both fell silent. Then we looked at each other, as if we were thinking the exact same thing at the same time. He called the Taiwanese guy who used to live on the second floor and asked him to come over. After the Taiwanese guy arrived, he told us the reason he had moved out. One afternoon, he was home alone. Thinking the room next door was vacant, he was curious to see its layout and decor, so he opened the door. To his surprise, he saw a woman standing by the window with her back facing the door. He thought someone had come to view the room. He said sorry and was about to close the door when he heard the woman tell him it was okay, and then he lost consciousness. He had absolutely no idea what had happened. By the time he woke up, the sky was already slowly turning dark. He got up, went back to his room, locked the door, and lay on the bed thinking about what had happened that afternoon. Just then, someone kept turning his doorknob, looking like they wanted to break in. Wondering who it was, he walked over to the door. Just as he was about to open it, he heard a woman outside whispering, "Let me in, let 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 me in." Then, suddenly, a strong force slammed hard against it. The door made a loud bang, and then everything went quiet. That very night, he asked a friend to help him move out and fled. I asked, "Did nothing strange happen before when you lived there for so long?" He said, "No, he suspected the Hong Kong guy brought that thing home because he was the first person to move into that house and had lived there for 2 or 3 years. It wasn't until shortly after the Hong Kong guy moved in that he noticed that woman. He always thought she was the Hong Kong guy's girlfriend. She was probably clinging to the Hong Kong guy, having someone to keep her company, so she never bothered us. But now, the Hong Kong guy moved away, and she didn't follow him. She started looking for a replacement. After he finished speaking, the two of them just stared at me. I carefully recalled the situation recently, and it was indeed a bit bizarre. When sleeping at night, my face would always feel ticklish, as if someone was brushing something like hair against me. But every time I opened my eyes, I wouldn't see anything. Not long after scratching the itch, it would itch again. Also, a while ago when taking a shower, I would always hear what sounded like someone breathing right outside the bathroom door. Moreover, the food in my fridge would often spoil even though it was still within its expiration date. Just like that, The three of us stayed at the bar until morning. Then, in the morning, the three of us immediately went to a shrine to get amulets, and we also went to a temple to ask the head monk to help cleanse our auras. Then, that same day, I also decided to move out, so I temporarily stayed at a colleague's place while looking for an apartment. On the day I planned to move out, two young people happened to move onto the second floor. The college student living next to me saw that new people had moved in to keep him company, so he decided to continue living there, because he was already so poor that he wasn't even afraid of ghosts. Just like that, I successfully found a new apartment within 3 days. When I went back to move my things, the college student said that nothing strange had happened these past few days either. Perhaps the amulets and the monk's cleansing had helped drive that thing away. A month later, the college student called me one day and said that because he forgot his keys and the landlord had gone on a trip and wouldn't be back to help him open the door until tomorrow, he asked if he could temporarily stay at my place for a day. I figured it was fine, since it was just for one day. That day when he came over to my house, when I opened the door, I saw him, and behind him, that woman, too. I don't dare use my phone before bed anymore. This is a story a friend told me. My friend is a smartphone addict, never separated from his phone all day. If he sees a message, he is the type to reply immediately. In my eyes, he's a pitiful person, hijacked by all kinds of mobile apps and information content, spending all the precious time of his life on that evil phone, even giving up personal relaxation and thinking time. His freedom has been hijacked by all sorts of nonsense chat messages. But he doesn't think so. In his mind, he's read some articles online that have been inspiring to him. Additionally, he believes that people shouldn't just live for themselves, so interacting with others is necessary. Although I don't understand his way of thinking, rather than spending time on a phone, I would much rather get in touch with nature and spend time reading a book. One day my friend told me that he didn't dare to use his phone before sleeping anymore. I asked him why. He said that day, he was home alone at 2 a.m. getting ready for bed. He had turned off all the lights and was lying on his bed in a pitch-black room, using his phone to look at messages on various social platforms and interesting videos. Just then, a stranger sent him a message saying, "Why aren't you asleep yet in the middle of the night?" He replied saying he was getting ready to sleep. That person asked him, "Are your room lights on?" He said, "No, I turned off the lights and was getting ready to sleep." That person said to him again, "I see, it's best not to do that." My friend asked him why. That person answered him, "You know people don't use candles anymore. So a lot of things that used to use candles have been replaced by lights or other electrical appliances. Relatively speaking, the other world is also progressing with the times, so using a phone in the middle of the night, that light is just like lighting a candle. Did you know, people in the past would light candles in dark rooms to some unvarious spirits? So, my friend was getting a bit scared at this point. So what? So, think about it. When you are in a pitch-black room, holding a phone is just like holding a lit candle. Then, my friend asked him, "And then what?" At that moment, the other person suddenly sent a picture over. The picture looked like an ancient painting. In the painting, there was a faceless monster with antlers, and some incantations were written above the drawing. His friend looked at the picture and the words, and silently recited the incantation in his heart. That person asked him, "Did you see the photo? Did you recite that incantation?" He said, "Yeah." Looking at the incantation, I unknowingly recited it silently in my heart. After my friend sent this message, that person suddenly went completely offline. My friend muttered to himself at the time, "Who is this guy? Why is he scaring people? Seriously." Then he put his phone on standby and got ready to sleep. When the phone's light went out, he saw it. In the corner of the pitch-black room, there was something. There was something that looked exactly like the thing in the picture just now, standing right there. Since that day, my friend was no longer addicted to his phone, and would no longer use his phone before going to sleep. Twin slope. This is May's story. She experienced this incident in the summer of her senior year of high school. Below, I will describe this story from May's perspective. The story goes like this. That day, on a sweltering summer night, because I couldn't sleep, with my parents' permission, I rode my bicycle to the convenience store late at night. After buying ice cream and drinks, I would usually return the way I came, but I suddenly noticed a very long downhill slope in front of the convenience store, so I decided to push my bicycle up the slope to take a look. I had passed by here several times before, but the slope was quite steep, so I had never come up. At a fork in a small path, there was an old stone monument with Twin Slope written on it. I walked up to it, and the scenery was really beautiful. The city I live in is located on a mountain slope facing the sea. The illuminated night view of the industrial area by the sea reflected on the surface of the sea under the moonlight. At this time, I thought I could also go home by going down this slope. I felt that going down the slope while looking at the night view would definitely feel very comfortable, so I decided to just ride my bicycle straight down the mountain. The feeling of the breeze, the wind was very comfortable. The hot and humid night turned into a cool breeze enveloping my entire body. Without pedaling, the bicycle could rush forward at an amazing speed. At first, I thought the feeling of the wind slicing past was very comfortable, but as the speed gradually increased, I felt a little scared and involuntarily put my hands on the brakes. However, the brakes didn't respond. I panicked and hastily squeezed the brakes a few times, but they still didn't respond. Although I tried to stop with my feet, my slippers were made of plastic, and if they even slightly touched the road surface, they would probably burst. At the end of the downhill slope was a T- intersection. I was wondering what I should do when suddenly, I felt something slowly approaching behind me. Then, it suddenly glided right next to me. Under the faint moonlight and streetlighted, I saw that thing. It was a bicycle with a woman on it. It was a woman riding a bicycle. But right at this moment, I heard the sound of a car ahead. I could see the car's headlights shining out from the road next to me. I instantly fell into a panic. And when I came back to my senses, I was already swerving my bicycle back and forth. Suddenly, that bicycle next to me closed in on me, and then for some reason, the brakes responded. The wobbly bicycle stabilized and returned to normal. Although the speed slowed down, the bicycle still couldn't stop. Seeing that the car was about to approach right in front of me, just when I felt there was no way out, powerless, and was about to give up, the bicycle running beside me suddenly shot past me. I thought to myself, what is she going to do? After overtaking me, the woman looked back at me, and then for some reason, smiled. Then she rushed straight onto the road. The deafening screech of car brakes echoed in the night sky, and immediately after, Tal also rushed onto the road and finally came to a stop. I was stunned, frozen to the spot. I turned my head and made eye contact with a middle-aged man sticking his head out of a light truck with a face full of terror. As I squinted under the bright lights, the man got out of his vehicle, rushed up to me and said, "Are you okay? Are you all right?" "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine." Thank goodness. That's great. What about the girl who looked a lot like you that rushed out just before?" Neither of us saw the girl who had rushed out in front of me just a moment ago. Not only that, but we couldn't even find the bicycle. The man and I looked at each other in astonishment. That is the story of my experience. But, actually, there was one thing I didn't tell the man at the time. At that moment, after the girl overtook me and passed by my side, she turned her head and looked back at me. Without a doubt, it was absolutely my face, looking exactly like me. Thinking back on it carefully now, even her clothes and her bicycle were exactly the same as mine. Later, I heard a rumor that a long time ago, a very close pair of twin sisters went missing there. In order to remember them, the townspeople named the hill Wind Slope. By the way, I am an only child. That is how the story goes. After telling this story, The sleepless nights are going to continue for a while longer.